Friends, welcome to Dr. Prem's podcast. Today we are going to discuss very important subject and very appropriate subject with the current time. How to handle financial crisis, how to prevent them in future. Today we are going to discuss about tips of handling difficult situation like lack of money, lack of business for a small business owner. Current situation has put almost everyone on the back foot, and especially I am getting lots of messages from small business owners, self-employers, or people who are in a startup or an emerging career, and all of them are either broke or they are about to broke or they are suffering some sort of financial crisis. So this podcast is purely for them because no one wants to be broke. But at some point of in life, every one of us has been gone through this or may go through this, right? So it is better for us to be prepared. So in this podcast, I'm going to share certain tips, suggestions, and idea, which by the way, I used myself in 2008 and 2009 recession. I came out very well. I did a very good business, and even I managed to train, teach, educate many people across the globe about how to come out of financial crisis. You don't need economic degree. You don't need big those economy lessons. Here are very simple and amazing tips. You just have to listen one by one and implement them. Here are 5 tips for handling financial crisis. Number 1, budget is the magic word. Managing expenses are most important factors to deal with financial crisis. The biggest reason that you are stuck in monetary crisis is your budget. Well, it isn't a sin, right? Anyone can go wrong with budget, and that's the reason why you are in crisis at first place. You need to accept it and admit it, right? However, you can still manage your budget. The best way to manage expenses are to monitor them. The moment you write down your expenses, you will be in position to control them. Many of the time, there are many expenses which happens to you, which is you know about them, but when you don't write down them, you don't control them. Use a simple budgeting app. There are many beautiful budgeting apps available, or simple paper pen and put column of expenses. By just writing them down, you will realize that there are many expenses you can trim down, cut down, and very easily you can handle your situation. You can cut down unnecessary expenses like canceling membership of services that you rarely use, right? Refrain from purchasing a luxurious brand at this situation. Try to focus on necessity item. Look for discounts, offer everywhere, and don't hesitate to speak with iron big magazines and website, and I have servers and all, and I'm asking everyone that if they can help me out in this situation to reduce my expenses. Even though in this current situation my business is quite doing okay, I'm writing everyone and asking them that what they could do. So asking people or companies who are supplying you products, or if you're dealing with any suppliers, asking them to cut down to the prices is the best way to help you reduce your expenses, right? And best way for you to start monitoring them. Do whatever it takes, but remember, budgeting is the key to better financial future. Tip number 1. Now let's go to 2. Tip number 2. Share your crisis with the people you really trust, especially people with whom you spend time. It could be your family member, close friends, your employees even. Your loved one still think that you are financially secure, and they might be throwing lifestyle situations in which you might be spending more and more money with them because they do not know that you are broke or you're going through financial crisis. When I say to share, I'm not saying to share on social media. No. Just to people who matter to you and people with whom you are spending most of your time and your lifestyle situation. Let them know that you are stuck in quite a lot of muck. Let them know that despite your financial crisis, this is very important, that let them know that even though you're going through crisis, difficulty, problem, you are willing to spend quality time. Because it is extremely important to be in social connection. to be with your family, with your friends, with your employees, even in financial crisis. Being in financial crisis is not a crime. However, not telling them, not updating your loved one could lead you to do something which could be a big danger for your future. So, what you need to do is tell them about your difficulties. One of the benefit of telling them is that they might come up with some solution as well, right? They might suggest you, might help you in your business. Many of the time when people reach out to me to discuss about their financial conditions, and as I said, many self-employed, emerging career people, and I'm able to provide them some solution because I have such a massive network of magazines, huge traffic and all, and I'm in situation to support them. And trust me, during these time, people are ready to support you. Experts are ready to give you education, knowledge free of cost. We are giving free training to everyone. You will be glad to know that your loved ones will stand by with you and they will appreciate your honesty. Here is tip number 3. You need to work smart to earn more or to go extra mile. So we know that during the financial crisis and during the recession, whatever business you are having is not going to generate enough revenue. And now suddenly you need more revenue. So you do need to understand that the work which you are doing is not going to produce sufficient money and there's not going to be sufficient industry for it. So maybe try utilizing current opportunities. Use tactics. Remember, strategies will remain same. If you are a businessman, your strategies will remain long term. But tactics are short term decision which you take to deal with these situations and the problem. If you are a single person and career-oriented person, there's nothing wrong doing small activities like doing online surveys, blogging, tutoring, babysitting, any kind of activity which can give you extra income. Also, if you can do any work in area which is of your interest, also your passion. For example, photography is my hobby, and if I'm in financial crisis, I don't mind taking a photography project, right? You might have some hobby which you can convert into a profession for a little bit period, right? Or you might have to spend a little more time in your freelance work. If you're a small business owner, you might have to look into new avenues of revenue. Jump into the necessity field, areas where there are revenues at this moment. For example, every crisis has huge budget for healthcare, grocery items, simple activities. So necessities is the key right now. And this is how you have to focus on it. Remember, earning little extra money while using tactics, not changing strategies, will help you in long way. Here is tip number 4, and this is out of box, by the way. You hired way too many staff members because there was a boom and you needed people to do research, development, marketing and all the activities. Or you develop many connections with different kind of people, different kind of industry. While you were working in the organization, you had those business lunch, dinners and meetings, and there is a huge connection. Your LinkedIn profile has thousands of amazing connections. And now you suddenly started thinking your employee is a big expense on your shoulder. What would you do on this situation? You need to find a way to convert these connections into business. And you need to understand that your employee might be the biggest asset you have. Your employees might be greatest resource you have to come out of this situation. The first thing you need to do is talk to them, speak with them, and tell them that we need to come out of box strategies to deal with these crises. Utilize your connection, those massive connection you have in your LinkedIn folder, in your LinkedIn account, in your email boxes and all. Go through that list and try to reach out to deals which you're trying to close, but you could not close it because of some financial amount or negotiation, and now you might be able to deal those businesses on a little reasonable amount. So reaching out to all your connection or utilizing your employees' strength. For example, your staff was doing a lot of HR work, was doing lots of resources work, which is was doing analytical work, research work, which is stopped right now. So you can ask that person that temporarily he could shift and help you in generating leads, finding what people are searching for business. Remember that even in the financial crisis, things slow down, but they never stop. Everyone still needs basic things and everyone still needs survival things. So you could just amend a bit strategy. Use your employees, use your connections to convert them into a greatest asset you have and try to generate some extra revenue. So here is the tip number 5. Maintain your perfect mental being. Your mental well-being is very important during the crisis. If your mind is not restless, it will generate the ideas and will give you the productivity that you and your client need. But if you constantly think about the repetitive, unconstructive thoughts of that you are broke and you can't do anything, the financial situation is worse, and the situations are not good, it's not going to help you. Even if you're speaking with the client or your customer, talking constantly about your financial crisis will not help you. They want to see you in a perfect mental stable situation. Remember, in the darkest of cloud as well, there is always a silver lining, right? Find time to mull over your thoughts and put them into perspective. Yes, we agreed that you're broke, but that doesn't mean that thought has to be in your mind all the time. You can simply enjoy life, find the joy in simple living things. A part of working hard, producing great results, you also need to slow down and relax. Nature is bountiful, so take this opportunity if you can go out. Instead of taking it as a defeat, take your losses as a stepping stone and break from hectic life you had. Try to find new meanings in your activity. Of course, you're spending time with your family and loved one during this time, but set an example for your future generation as well, that you can laugh and smile despite of your difficulties and despite of lack of money. So money is definitely required to live in this capitalized world, but that is not only thing required for happiness, right? So we have to deal with two situations, not one. Please understand that your financial crisis is just part of one of your life situation. So you will somehow deal with it. But at the same time, you have to take care of your well-being, your body, your health, and your mental well-being. And just only working on your financial crisis will not help you. If you think that I'm going to work 12 hours and work, it might not help you. Of course, you do need to work a little extra, do need to work smartly, might need to take extra project, might have to take any extra activity, as I mentioned in previous tip. But that doesn't mean that you have to do this with compromising with your well-being, right? And at this moment, during the crisis, it is not appropriate to think about those long-term strategies, and you want to do long-term strategies now, that you plan to become so and so in 1 year, and now you're not able to become that so and so. You're not, because the financial situation of the world is not supportive at this moment. So there is nothing wrong in being flexible, right? There's nothing wrong in it. So be flexible with your long-term strategies, but make sure that you are at peace with yourself and your mind is generating great ideas. Because at this moment, the biggest support you have is of your own self. Your mind needs to be stable. After listening to those 5 tips, you might have a beautiful question that Dr. Prem, We understand financial crisis, but tell me how to deal with lack of money. And you might say, I have no money to pay my rent, to my staff, to my family, and pay the regular expenses. How can I live a life? And you might have thoughts of stress, anger, depression. Dealing with loss of money might seem hard, but it is not impossible. You might start feeling symptoms. Agree. Being without money also saps our morale and make us feel like we have hit an all-time low. We are at rock bottom. If we feel like we have hit rock bottom, then we should pick ourselves up and start taking the positive route. It is very much possible because you are not the first person and you are not the only person who is struggling with money. There are millions of people who are going through the same crisis as you are going through. The first problem with you or with anyone might be acceptance. Learn to accept that now you have no money or you are in some sort of financial crisis. You cannot afford the things you had earlier. So if it has to be let gone off, then so be it. Denial can be harmful. So often we see that people who have undergone financial troubles go out and purchase things unnecessarily and costly things, sometimes just even to make themselves believe that all is well and it's more comfortable. How many times you have seen that when you are in trouble financial situation, you go out on a shopping spree and you do it because your mental being want to tell you that okay, I'm in good situation, I can bounce back. It might be counterproductive. If it is giving you inspiration, motivation, so small expenses like going and buying that costly chocolate you wanted or having that nice coffee in cafe, and those things are good, but buying altogether a new device during the financial crisis is not supportive. You can do small expenses things which can cheer up, but don't try to do things which can bring unnecessary bigger burden on your financial crisis, right? Also, we did discuss about importance of being around loved ones. Sharing always solves your troubles, right? They reduce your troubles. And I'm again saying to you, social media is not the place to go and talk about your problem. But at the same time, remember, social media is also not a place just keep on flaunting your luxurious life. And how many times you just post those luxurious resort picture of yours and all. The problem with that kind of thing is that you create a rosy picture in social media about you, and now you expect that everyone want to see the same, and they will not be able to see you in simple living condition. So the first thing is stop doing that. It is okay to put luxurious picture occasionally, but just put picture of yourself, what you are, and people will love you because people fall in love with people who they simply are themselves, right? So be close to people, talk with them and share your situation, right? What's more, you can come up with solution together when you talk with people. Another important thing is you need to learn lesson from this financial crisis, and you need to fix things up. No one else might fix things up for you, so you need to start fixing them up. And as I mentioned to you, budgeting is a simple way to fix up your things, and you can deal without the money if you just focus on essentials. You can have a polite discussion with your rent owners, office owners, your staff, your employees, everyone where you are spending money. You can just sit down with them, have a quick chat with them and talk with them about financial crisis and tell them that you are coming up with your financial goal planning, which I'm anyway going to discuss in the next step, so that they know when they can expect some money from you or some solution from you. Important is to start working on solution, and it is very much possible to do. Now, as we understood that you are in financial crisis, and you got motivation to deal with it, and now you somehow realize that you will deal with it, right? And you know that during this crisis all you have to do is think about your survival, right? And you might think that, okay, I just have to survive. And should you give up your that dream idea of your business? Should you give up those startup business which you are thinking that it will be a big business one day, and simply focus your life on survival? Not really. Whatever strategies you had in your life, I want you to keep those intact. Understand the importance. Do not change your strategies. However, you do need to use tactics to go through this current situation. Whatever dream you had, whatever plans you had, whatever investment you did on the startup, no one asking you to close that down. It's okay to slow that down. It's okay to look on it on a long-term perspective when things are normal. But at this moment, you can use tactics. You can really use tactics. Now, many of the time people do not understand the difference. Strategy and tactics. Every individual who has a goal in life need both strategy and tactics. Strategies and tactics are complementary to each other. Without one, the other is incomplete. For successful business management also, you need to learn planning strategies. And at the same time, you have to use proper tactics for implementing the strategies. Some strategies help you achieve long-term goals, right? For example, you want to become a top leader in some industry, in particular industry, and you set your strategies and you set up your long-term goal, 3-year time, 6-year time. That's a long term. But now you are suddenly in financial crisis, and now that is not feasible or viable or not looking it possible, right? But at this moment you have to use the tactics. Maybe bring up element of new product at this moment in your business which can generate short revenue. Maybe, for example, if you are in a consulting business, right, or you are into tourism business, or not, travel has stopped. So if you are in a consulting business, maybe you can think about some tourism activity. If you are in tourism business where you are doing so many travel and other activity, and now suddenly travel has stopped, you might jump into the consulting business. You might want to help other people, other hotels, other resort, how they can get the foreign business or activities, right? So these are tactics. Small tactics will help you to achieve your long-term strategies. For example, you're going from one place to second place, and suddenly you saw that the government has put a roadblock. What would you do? Would you go back? No, you would find another route to go to place where you want to go, right? And it's very much possible. It might take a long time, it might take extra fuel, extra time of you, but you will reach to the place. So tactics work like that, right? Your strategy is to reach from A to B, and tactics says that to reach from A to B, you can't take this route, so now you have to take another route. This is how tactics work, and we have to utilize these tactics beautifully, right? There's a lot about strategies and tactic on my website. You can read about it, and you can improve your small business strategies. So friends, in today's podcast, we discuss about dealing with financial crisis, and we discussed roughly around 7 different tips and strategies and ideas. Let me give you brief once again to them so that you are better prepared. We discuss about budget is the magic word, managing your expenses, recording your expenses, noting down your expenses, cutting down your expenses, the best way to go through. And I also guided you, helped you to understand how you can do that, right? Share your problem with your dear ones. Do not compromising on the spending quality time, and also utilizing them and asking them to support you. There is nothing wrong in it, right? There was a point number thing we discussed about how to work smart and go extra mile, and we also discuss about how to convert your connection into business, right? After that, we also discuss about how to deal with lack of money. Instead of being in depression, sad, we thought about various ideas, we discussed about various ideas how to bounce back in life. And the last, we discuss about various strategies and tactics and what is the difference between these two. Now, simple language. You are not the first person to go through financial crisis, and it's not a sin. It's not a crime. It's okay if you're financially broke. There are millions of people, and let's work on them together. Many wise thinkers say that money doesn't provide anyone real happiness, right? But we do know that money is essential for day-to-day activities. So now understand this thing. There is a difference between two things. You do need money to run your home. Agree, completely agree. But that is not the whole source of happiness, right? There are various ways to generate the happiness to compensate the lack of money thinking, right? And that happiness can come from spending time with your family, friends, just enjoying delicious cuisines which you can make at home, and there are a variety of things you can do it to give you that happiness, right? Lack of money needs to be dealt with it. By just having happiness thoughts will not deal with lack of money. Remember this thing. Don't get into this trap where they say, oh, feel happy without money in life. No, it's not good to be without money in life. Money is required. But all I'm saying you that happiness doesn't necessarily need to be based on the money. And if you do not have money, you can deal with it. You can develop your financial plan like that so that you can better prepare yourself for future. This period, particularly this 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, we do not know how long this problem is going to be. Try to do your best to stay focused on necessities and then bounce back in your life, in your financial life with better planning. Have a wonderful time, my friend. Feel free to reach out to me if any way my business can help you, support you.